Hello and welcome back to the South Fulton Mental Health Collaborative's Wellness Wednesday. It is April 13th and we are excited to be with you in the middle of your day, or if you're watching it later, we're glad that you caught up with us to see what we're going to be talking about this month. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and so we have Tiffany Sawyer from the Georgia Center for Child Advocacy here with us today. As a reminder, the South Fulton Mental Health Collaborative is an effort between Fulton County Schools, the South Fulton Parents for Education Group, and Odyssey Family Counseling Center to send out information, talk about wellness and what wellness means across the community, but also to share about resources in our community around prevention, education, and also support for everything from housing to school-based needs to mental health needs to physical health needs. We are supporting the overall health and wellness of our community. And so today we have Tiffany from the Georgia Center for Child Advocacy, who's going to talk with us about child abuse prevention. Let me introduce you to her so we can get going. And I hope you can see her PowerPoint already, but we're going to get going with her in just a second. So Tiffany joined the Georgia Center for Child Advocacy as the Director of Prevention in 2006. In her capacity at the Georgia Center, Tiffany oversees the center's statewide abuse and exploitation prevention initiative, which has trained and educated over 170,000 adults. So quite a few people. Some of you might have already seen some of this information before. Prior to her work in Georgia, Tiffany worked at Darkness to Light, where she assisted in the creation of the Stewards of Children training curriculum and helped to launch the program on national and international levels. She continues to serve as an instructor and featured program expert for Darkness to Light through their Stewards of Children training video and other training modules. So she knows what she's talking about here. She served as the 2019 president of the National Coalition to Prevent Child Sexual Abuse and Exploitation and continues to serve on the steering committee. She was appointed by Governor Nathan Deal in August 2014 to serve on the Georgia Child Fatality Review Panel as the prevention specialist. She has twice served as a committee chair for the Georgia Human Trafficking Task Force, led by the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, and previously by the Governor's Office for Children and Families. So we're here in South Fulton, and Odyssey Family Counseling Center is right here next to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. So we know that this area in Atlanta specifically has a lot of abuse and trafficking that are going on through the airport and through this community. So this is something really important for us to be paying attention to and learning about. So Tiffany has developed numerous training programs on mandated reporting, abuse prevention, trauma-informed care, adverse childhood experiences, resiliency in children, human trafficking, and child protection policies. She has conducted over 500 trainings and presentations, both nationally and internationally, throughout her career. So we are really lucky to have you here today, Tiffany. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here too. And I just want to say a shout out for Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's the entire month of April, and I'm wearing blue to just support the month of April. So I hope that the rest of you, as now that you know that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, maybe you'll wear blue for the rest of the month as just a way to support. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to introduce you to the Georgia Center for Child Advocacy and specifically our prevention efforts. We provide prevention education to adults and youth across the state of Georgia and have been doing that since 2006. When I started at the Georgia Center. So let's make sure you can see. Can you see my slide here, Elise? All right, great. So our advocacy center, the mission is to champion the needs of sexually and physically abused children through prevention, intervention, therapy, and collaboration. So we offer direct services for children and families within DeKalb and Fulton counties who've experienced abuse and neglect, potentially trafficking, sexual trafficking, exploitation, or children who have witnessed violence. And we work very closely with law enforcement and the Division of Family and Children's Services to help investigate those cases. We offer forensic interviews and evaluations and do some crisis counseling as well as victim advocacy for children and families within DeKalb and Fulton counties. And all of those services that we offer at the center are free to our families. And it's ongoing as long as children need those services. So we are very grateful that we're able to provide that for the community. We see about 700 children a year. It obviously fluctuates depending on the year. And we usually serve children between the ages of 3 and 18, just because it's hard to serve children when they aren't able to verbally communicate what's occurred. So we offer those services, and we've been doing that since 1987. But my role as the director of prevention education, we provide prevention education across the state of Georgia. So our department is slightly different in that we work with communities across the state, and I'm super excited to be able to do that. And as you read earlier, we have already trained over 170,000 adults in the state of Georgia. So let me talk to you just a little bit about some of the things we do within our prevention department and our initiative. So our goal is really to provide evidence-based programs and practices to leading institutions, organizations, really any adult that serves youth in any capacity. So whether you work with children in a school setting, whether you work with children in a daycare or maybe a YMCA, we want to provide prevention education specifically around child sexual abuse and trauma prevention. You may have a volunteer role with children. So you might volunteer in a faith-based organization, or maybe you're a little league coach. And so we also think that those individuals need to receive training and education around prevention of abuse. And then, of course, our personal relationships with children. So anybody that has children of their own, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, or maybe you're just a really great neighbor and you want to protect all the kiddos in your little community, all of our prevention education is applicable to any and all of those individuals. So our goal is to shift the perspective around child sexual abuse to one where it's not a taboo subject. It's not something that we feel like we can't talk about. It's a very secretive and traumatizing thing for people to talk about. It is shifting a little bit, but we want to break down those barriers to be able to shift that perspective and make it so that it's out in the open, and protecting children is just one other thing that we do when we work with children and youth. So that's really our mission across the state of Georgia. So I talk about why prevention and why it's so important to shift the cultural norms to end child sexual abuse. So some of you may remember, certainly at my age, I remember years ago when I was a child, bouncing around in the back seat of my parents' car, unrestrained. I think I was like in the floorboards as my mom or dad was like speeding down the highway. And we would go on family trips like that all the time, where I was not buckled in, I was not strapped in at all. And now, just a few generations later, it's unthinkable that we would allow our young children to ride without a car seat, without a seat belt. The widespread public safety campaign in the 1970s, accompanying the passage of state laws, federal laws, strengthening child car seat safety regulations, that was tremendously successful at decreasing a child's risk of injury or death from a car accident. So today, those kinds of prevention initiatives are universal. We always think about buckling our kids into their car seat or into the car. However, a child's lifetime risk of dying in a car accident is 1 in 84, and a child's risk of being sexually abused is 1 in 10 children. So when you think about all of the things that we do, and rightfully so, we need to make sure children are protected in every environment that they're in. but we're not really meeting the mark when it comes to child sexual abuse. We're not taking those extra precautions. We're not talking about it on a regular basis. And sometimes it's something that organizations don't think about at all. And so that's why prevention is so important, and it's time to really shift our understanding of what we mean by safety. So these are some of the adult focus. We feel like it's an adult's responsibility to protect children, just like we walk them across the street hand in hand, and again, buckle them into their car seat. It's our role as adults, no matter if you're a parent or not, it's our role as adults to protect children from sexual abuse. So we offer lots of different prevention education trainings. Darkness to Light is one of the main ones that we offer. It's called Stewards of Children, and it is a 2.5-hour training. There's a few additional modules, as you can see on the PowerPoint slide, that go into a little bit more in-depth information around how to talk to children about sexual abuse. That's so important that we're talking to our kids. The connection between child sexual abuse and commercial sexual exploitation, as you mentioned, Elise, the proximity to the airport is something that, we have one of the largest airports in the world. So it's really important that we're talking about that. We use another program called Circles of Safety, and that is something that is around learning about healthy sexual development. And if we can encourage healthy sexual development and kids maturing and growing and understanding their own sexual development, then they are less likely to be victimized, and they're less likely to become somebody that perpetrates sexual violence as well. Another program that we are using is called Connections Matter Georgia, and that is about adverse childhood experiences, which just helps people understand that the things that occur in our childhood impact our behaviors and our health later on in life. And so, just thinking like, oh, I experienced that as a kid and I'm totally fine, doesn't always make sense. And actually research shows that it does impact us later on in life. So understanding those connections and understanding how we can build resiliency in children to help them overcome those adverse experiences. And then lastly, we have a brand new training that is between 45 minutes and 2 hours, and it's specifically on human trafficking prevention. So what is human trafficking, labor trafficking versus sex trafficking versus commercial sexual exploitation? What are all the differences? How can we recognize it? What does it look like here in Georgia? And then what are the resources that we have in Georgia to help support children who've experienced that? So those are the main programs that we offer for adults. I want to share a little bit about one of our goals. And again, this is around shifting the culture and society's perspective on child sexual abuse specifically. So our goal is to reach a tipping point. So if you look at our little hill here, so right now we're sort of pushing up the hill. We're trying to just, train anybody, educate anybody that comes along, and anybody that we can talk to, so that we can eventually get more and more people who are aware of this issue, who are educated around this issue, so that eventually we're building the momentum so that everyone knows about it. And it's like the seatbelt thing. You get into a car, you immediately put your seatbelt on. If you serve children and youth, if you work with children, you know exactly what you need to do to protect them. So our goal is to reach a tipping point, and we have defined that tipping point as training at least 5% of the adult population in every county in Georgia. That's our goal. So we've trained 170,000 people, but we haven't quite met that 5% goal yet. So you can see a little bit about our success here. The counties that you see in yellow are the counties that have reached that tipping point. So we have over 24 counties who have actually trained 5% of their adult population. And you can see the ripple effect, right? You see the yellow pockets. It's like one county starts doing some really good things, and then the neighboring county is like, hey, I want to join that initiative. I want to start doing that. So you can see the success in those areas. We also have regional coordinators established in different parts of the state, and those regional coordinators help to build community initiatives around prevention and around training. So we're really excited about the work that we've already done, the successes that we've had. But you see some counties in white there. That means we haven't trained anybody in those counties. So if you know somebody in Eccles or Stewart or Dooley or Pulaski, please give them a call and say, hey, I need you to meet Tiffany so that we can get all 159 counties in the state covered. So just a few tips for you all. I hate leaving people without a little bit of a call to action, without some things that they can do. So some comprehensive strategies around prevention education. First, as I said before, making sure that anybody that works with or has any kind of responsibility with children, make sure that they receive training, and that the training is not just mandated reporting. Mandated reporting is great, and we need to know what to do if we suspect abuse. But there are things that we can do before abuse takes place and to prevent abuse from happening. So understanding the facts, understanding how it occurs, how to minimize the opportunity, to create some safety plans. Again, how to talk to children, being able to recognize boundary violations when somebody crosses a boundary. We call that grooming. So they're setting up a situation to take advantage of a child. And we want to intervene in those situations so that that's where, real, true primary prevention happens. We're calling someone out for crossing a boundary. We're calling somebody out for grooming a child and letting them know this will not happen on our watch because we are paying attention and we know what to do. We have to build people's confidence because we know that, again, talking about child sexual abuse is not something that people do on a regular basis, and they don't feel comfortable doing that. So we have to get comfortable, and we have to build confidence in not only our adults, but in our youth, so that we can say no, and we can, again, call somebody out if they are crossing a boundary. And then we need to take action and speak up and report abuse when it takes place. So comprehensive training strategies for everybody who works with or has any kind of responsibility for youth is strategy number one. Strategy number two is that all youth serving organizations, so this is any organization that literally has children there that they are serving in some way, should implement prevention focused. Again, we don't want to do things after the fact. We want to implement policies, effective policies and procedures that include appropriate screening, a code of conduct so that adults, whether they're volunteers, interns, employees, my kids are 10 and 13, and as a volunteer, when I go and volunteer in their school, I have a code of conduct that I have to follow in terms of how I can interact with the kids that I'm watching. So a code of conduct tells us what we can expect when people are interacting with children, what kinds of things they should be doing and what kinds of things they should not be doing. Our policies and procedures should eliminate any isolated one-on-one interactions. So one-on-one interactions with children, those are very, very important. It builds confidence and trust in children when they can have those kinds of interactions. So I'm definitely not saying to eliminate those, but those isolated where they're one-on-one and nobody can interrupt those situations. There's no window in the doors are closed. we want to eliminate those isolated situations so that there is no risk of somebody taking advantage of a child. And then, of course, organizations need to have reporting procedures, and they need to be taken seriously so that if a child discloses abuse, that every single person knows what to do, who to report it to, how to respond to the child in that moment, and then what to do as an organization communicating that out to parents, in some cases to media, in some cases to the larger community. So having those reporting procedures and policies are really important. And we also can't forget about our kiddos. So even really young children can receive education around abuse prevention. So when I say developmentally appropriate body safety, number one, kids knowing the accurate terms for their body parts is number one. And we can do that when they are super little and we're changing diapers or bathing them. And understanding that they have a right to say no to unwanted touch. In fact, we should always ask permission of children before we engage in any kind of touch with children, and that they should know, and we should model that appropriate touch, and making sure they feel comfortable in every one of those situations. And sometimes that changes. I have a teenager now who doesn't always like to be hugged, especially in public. But when we are home alone, she really wants to cuddle up and have some hugs. But it's her prerogative, it's her body. So I need to ask permission before I do that. So messaging and modeling consent. And when we are asking permission to just give them a hug or to pat them on the back, that models consent without even talking about sex. So we can do that with really young children. And that sets them up for a healthier relationship with some of their romantic partners that they might have later on, because you've modeled what consent looks like and what they should expect when they enter into a romantic situation. We always talk about not having any secrets. Surprises are a good thing. Secrets are not a good thing. And so we always, one of our family policies, we have our own family policies, is not keeping any secrets. And if somebody does try to keep a secret, that's a red flag. Appropriate boundaries, teaching children what healthy relationships are, again, what they should expect. Safety in the cyber world, that's huge. Kids are doing everything digitally now. So telling them, what they should and shouldn't put out there on the internet, and what kinds of things, if they receive things, what to do with that information. And then how to identify and talk to safe adults. And as much as I absolutely hate it, sometimes I may not be the best person for my daughter to tell everything. So I have helped them identify other people besides myself and besides my husband that they can talk to in a situation where they feel uncomfortable. And so I have to remember, it's not about me, it's about my child's safety. And if they feel more comfortable talking to somebody else, then that's okay. And that's important. So here are some prevention resources for kids. I love Love 146's website, specifically the piece where it's directed at youth. It gives them tips on healthy relationships, red flags, sexting, how to get help. And it's all in a teen-friendly way. So sometimes they need to hear it in language that makes sense to them. So I absolutely love their website. The National Human Trafficking Hotline, if you are suspecting any kind of human trafficking, but you're not sure, that's a good hotline to call for kids to be able to call. And then also child help. This is another one for kids to be able to report. Again, if they don't feel like they have any trusted adults in their lives or somebody that they feel comfortable talking to, they can either text or chat with somebody or call child help, and they can get some assistance here locally in Georgia. So these are 3 great resources that I like to share. As I mentioned before, it is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So we are offering all of our trainings for free the entire month of April. We have slotted a training for every single workday in the month of April. So lots and lots and lots going on. Here is a QR code, and you are welcome to have your camera hover over that QR code, and it'll take you to our Prevention Palooza website, where you can find more information about tips on prevention. We have some videos that are highlighting some of our key partners in the community, and how to register for any one of our trainings that are coming up. We still have a lot more to go, so I hope that you will take advantage of these training opportunities because they are free for the month of April. And lastly, this is my contact information. So if anybody needs to get in touch with me, reach out. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask any questions, or if you want another presentation or something for a group that you're working with, we are happy to come out and provide any information that you need.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. This is a lot of great information, and I think that here at the South Fulton Mental Health Collaborative, this might be something we host in the community in the future. Have you guys come out and maybe do one of those trainings in the community, since we'll be trying to do more community-based stuff now that the pandemic has shifted, and it's a lot safer for people to gather in public than it was even a year ago. So thank you, Tiffany. Do you guys have any social media or anything for people to also connect on social media?
Yeah, so you can follow us on both Facebook and Instagram, Georgia Center for Child Advocacy. I should have had our little handles at the bottom. I'm sorry I didn't do that, but maybe we can tag us in the future. But yes, please follow us. You'll be able to find more information about different events that we have going on. Again, more training. So all of the trainings that we're offering for April are virtual so that we can reach a large population. I think we already have over 800 people registered combined for all of the trainings throughout the month. But we do these in person and we do them virtually. So we are happy to come out to you guys to do a training. But if you'd rather us do it virtually, we're happy to do that too.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much. So we just want to remind everybody that if you have any concerns, if you or someone you know is struggling with anything from mental health challenges or just some not feeling quite right, or if you suspect that something's going on, please reach out to people in your community. So those people can be teachers and staff at your school. You can also reach out to Odyssey Family Counseling Center. We provide individual, family, and group counseling for children as young as 4, all the way to children as old as 100 and plus. So we welcome people to come and get support. And also, as a reminder, therapy is not just for those who might have experienced abuse or who maybe have a really significant mental health challenge that they're navigating. It's also for people to talk about the daily stressors. I don't know anybody in the last 2 years who would describe themselves as not stressed through, even if it was for a short period of time. Odyssey Family Counseling Center is available to you. You can reach out to us online at odysseycounseling.org, or you can reach out by phone 404-762-9190. So you also have Tiffany's information here if you would like to reach out and learn more about training. We'll also be posting their information about the Prevention Palooza for the rest of the month. So hopefully people will get registered, try out some of the classes, and then hopefully we'll be able to work together and put out some more trainings for our community specifically as well. Thank you, Tiffany, for your time today. We really appreciate you being here. Once you have engage with us once, we say that you're a part of the collaborative, you're a part of the community, and I saw Fulton still isn't in the yellow yet, so we need to keep getting people trained here in Fulton County, but also our neighboring counties we have connection with too. So everybody can do their part, and we look forward to hopefully having a world where children are safe and able to grow and develop and not have to experience these preventable concerns that are going on. So thank you so much, Tiffany. And to the rest of the community, we'll see you in May. We are going to have members from Fulton County Schools come and talk about summer programming that's available for students, and also to talk about mental health programming that will be available for students in our community. Odyssey Family Counseling Center will be hosting virtual skills groups for kids in the community. And so we look forward to sharing that information with you in May. Everybody have a great rest of your week, and we look forward to seeing you in May. Goodbye.